Hello everyone, Joel here. Today, we are diving straight into the ultimate RPGs designed specifically for those of us who just want to smash that skip cutscene button and get right into the action. If reading endless dialogue boxes makes your eyes glaze over, and you care way more about character builds, satisfying mechanical loops, and crushing bosses than whatever the Chosen One's prophecy is supposed to be, this video is made for you.
Like suggestion through the corrupted countryside.
Kicking things off, we have Darkest Dungeon. Now technically, there is some grimdark lore here about a ruined ancestral estate, but let's be real. The only thing that actually matters is keeping your stress bar from hitting 200 and giving your entire party a literal heart attack. The turn-based combat feels brutally satisfying, where every single torchlight flicker and mist swing adds unbearable tension. The real joke isn't the eldritch horrors lurking in the shadows, it's watching your favorite crusader develop kleptomania and steal your precious loot right after getting critted by a skeleton with a wine glass. While RNG can occasionally feel like a slap in the face, the sheer dopamine rush of snatching victory from total wipeout makes this a masterpiece of pure unfiltered punishing mechanics.
Press this advantage.
She had horns like a beast. Strode right past where you stand.
Speaking of relentless action, let's seamlessly transition into the Diablo series. Nobody is launching these games to write a dissertation on the geopolitical conflict between the high heavens and the burning hells. Instead, it is all about that glorious screen-clearing action loop where the entire monitor explodes into a shower of colorful loot beams. Whether you are smashing demons in Diablo 2 or optimizing Paragon boards in Diablo 4, the combat feels like a well-oiled slot machine that rewards you with god-tier power. Sure, inventory management can sometimes feel like a part-time job playing Tetris, but when a whirlwind barbarian is mowing down thousands of fallen demons per minute while you catch up on podcasts, who actually needs dialogue?
Out of fury.
Quite rare to see a human in these parts.
Now, if mowing down demons isn't quite enough, how about recruiting them? Enter Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. While its Persona cousins force players to sit through 40 hours of high school friendship simulators, SMT5 tosses you straight into a post-apocalyptic Tokyo wasteland and says, "Good luck, go punch God." This definitive Vengeance edition massively evolved the exploration and battle system, making the signature press-turn combat feel sharper than ever. Exploiting elemental weaknesses to gain extra turns is an absolute tactical thrill, while failing to do so means a random slime will wipe the party instantly. You don't need to care about philosophical debates between order and chaos when the monster fusion mechanics allow you to combine a literal demon blob and an archangel into an unstoppable mythological powerhouse. Shifting gears from mythological beast to massive medieval warfare, Mount & Blade 2 is the undisputed king of creating unscripted sandbox chaos. Forget scripted cutscenes, because the actual narrative here is starting out as a broke peasant throwing rocks at looters and eventually leading a cavalry charge of 500 heavily armored knights across a muddy battlefield. The directional melee combat mechanics feel hefty and responsive, rewarding realistic timing and positioning over mindless button mashing. Plus, with the massive ongoing modding scene constantly expanding the game's horizon, the sandbox never gets stale. Sure, the diplomacy menus can feel a bit dry and spreadsheet heavy, but absolutely nothing beats the adrenaline spike of commanding a massive shield wall while screaming tactical orders at your screen. Now, if you love that gritty feeling of building an army of stats and loot, Grim Dawn is an absolute staple that puts deep gameplay mechanics above everything else. While there are lore notes scattered across the gloomy world of Cairn, the real centerpiece is the incredibly satisfying dual-class system. Combining a Demolitionist with a Necromancer just to see what kind of chaotic, explosive minion hybrid comes out is pure build crafting heaven. The combat feels chunky and impactful, specifically designed for players who want to tweak devotion skill trees for hours without ever being interrupted by a forced cinematic. Even if the graphics show a tiny bit of age compared to modern flashy titles, the sheer depth of theory crafting and offline-friendly perfection keeps this gem timeless. Before we continue the video, I want to inform you that right now, there are tons of crazy deals in instant gaming, especially if you love RPG games. Remember how expensive modern gaming lately? Well, not anymore, since you can get so many amazing titles with crazy discounts in instant gaming. Can you believe that just with $10 or even less than $5, you can enjoy one of the best gaming experiences in your life? Just look at these titles. It used to cost like $30 or even more than $40. And to make things even crazier, some games even drop so far to just $1. If you're a smart guy, you know what you have to do. All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games, and use the activation code on your chosen platform. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. Of course, we can't talk about ignoring conventional storylines without mentioning the legendary Dark Souls series. The narrative here is famously hidden inside item descriptions of obscure pants and vague NPC chuckles. What actually drives players is the tight, unforgiving stamina-based melee combat that practically define modern gaming. Every dodge roll, parry, and weapon swing carries tremendous mechanical weight, turning terrifying boss encounters into rhythmic dances of life and death. Yes, the camera can occasionally become the hardest boss in the game when fighting inside tight corridors, but the unmatched feeling of finally overcoming Ornstein and Smough or the Nameless King through pure muscle memory is an elite gaming experience. From dodging giant swords to dodging giant angry dinosaurs, the Monster Hunter series is the ultimate monument to gameplay over narrative. Whenever a cutscene tries to explain the delicate ecological balance of an ancient dragon, every hunter is just aggressively tapping the skip button to get back to upgrading their giant hammer. The combat mechanics are a masterclass in weight and animation commitment, where wielding a great sword or charge blade feels like operating a heavy, devastating martial arts machine. Hunting with friends, breaking monster parts, and carving tails to craft that sweet new armor set is an endless satisfying loop. Even if the early game gathering quest can be a slight speed bump, the exhilarating thrill of taking down a raging apex predator never gets old.
Two simple folk, thrust into a grand adventure far beyond...
Moving right along to another absolute action powerhouse, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen remains a legendary fantasy playground where the setup is basically just a dragon stole your heart, go get it back. Nobody remembers the political intrigue of the Duke, but everybody remembers the jaw-dropping physical combat system. Grabbing onto the fur of a soaring griffin, climbing up to its wings and setting it on fire in mid-air feels cooler than any pre-rendered cinematic ever could. Furthermore, the magic system actually makes you feel like an apocalyptic wizard casting tornadoes that fling goblins across the horizon. The fast travel limitations in the early game might test your patience, but the sheer combat freedom and the hilarious, repetitive chatter of your pawn companions make this an unforgettable mechanical sandbox. Switching over to a more tactical battlefield, Jagged Alliance 3 is a turn-based tactical delight. The setup is simple. A president goes missing, so you hire a squad of eccentric, heavily armed mercenaries to clear out a tropical island. Instead of sitting through boring exposition, time is spent managing action points, lining up satisfying headshots, and exploiting destructible environments. The gunplay mechanics feel incredibly rewarding, especially when setting up a perfect stealth Overwatch trap that wipes out an entire patrol in seconds. While inventory management across multiple squads can take a little getting used to, the deep tactical combat, hilarious 80s action movie banter, and brutal mercenary customization make it a dream for strategy lovers.
Ready to shoot.
Speaking of deep tactical combat, let's fast forward into the high-speed samurai action of Team Ninja's incredible Nioh 3. Released in early 2026, this beast takes the Souls-like formula and injects it with blistering fast hack-and-slash depth that leaves traditional story pacing in the dust. Players are here to master and evolve combat system that seamlessly blends samurai and ninja fighting styles across an expansive Dark Sengoku open field. The stance switching mechanics and key pulse stamina management feel like playing a high-stakes fighting game inside an action RPG. Sure, the loot drops can be slightly overwhelming with endless stat percentages, but when chaining a perfect burst counter into a devastating yokai shift execution, you won't care at all about whichever historical feudal warlord just got decimated.
Welcome to the fight.
If you prefer missing a 99% chance shot over reading dialogue, the XCOM series is calling your name. Who cares about the diplomatic politics of an alien invasion when a customized sniper, named after your real-life best friend, is currently bleeding out behind a burning taxi? The turn-based tactical mechanics feel intensely gripping, forcing brutal risk-reward calculations with every single grid movement. The permanent death mechanic ensures that every decision carries immense emotional weight, generated purely through gameplay rather than a scripted script. While getting wiped out by a random critical hit through solid wall cover can induce temporary rage quitting, the deeply addictive base building and squad-level tactical mastery make XCOM an absolute pinnacle of gameplay-first strategy. Stepping back into the realm of atmospheric mastery, Bloodborne remains an untouchable classic. Instead of explaining its Lovecraftian Victorian nightmare through dry exposition, the game encourages players to grab a serrated cleaver and a blunderbuss, then dive straight into the bloody streets of Yharnam. The rally mechanic, which lets you regain lost health by immediately counter-attacking, completely transforms the combat field into a fast-paced, aggressive dance of bloodshed. Gun pairing a charging beast and ripping a visceral attack feels incredibly crisp and rewarding. Even though running back to mini-bosses to farm blood vials can be slightly tedious for newcomers, the flawless trick weapon transformations and unmatched cosmic horror atmosphere make reading lore notes totally optional to enjoy the masterpiece. If you want brutal turn-based combat where soldiers are defined by their physical scars, Battle Brothers is a hidden gem that commands respect. Leading a gritty mercenary company in a low-fantasy procedurally generated world means there is no main storyline to babysit you. Just pure survival, economic management, and tactical hex grid battles. The combat feels realistically unforgiving. Positioning a shield wall, managing armor fatigue, and flanking bandits with pikes requires genuine tactical brains. Yes, losing a veteran fighter to a random crossbow bolt to the neck is heartbreaking, but the unscripted dynamic stories created entirely through your squad's battlefield triumphs and tragedies make this one of the most compelling strategy RPGs ever crafted.
Your seamster. Book.
Naturally, we can't discuss skipping lore in favor of world-class gameplay without highlighting Elden Ring. George R.R. Martin may have helped write the mythological history of the lands between, but let's be honest, most players just skipped straight to dual-wielding bleed katanas and spamming Ash of War weapon arts on demigods. The open-world exploration mechanics feel truly liberating, allowing you to simply ride away on torrent whenever a boss scrub checks you, go find some hidden dungeons to level up and come back swinging. With massive Shadow Realm expansions keeping the community thriving and builds constantly evolving, the sheer variety of viable combat styles is staggering. It is the absolute pinnacle of exploration and mechanical freedom where the only story you need is become the Elden Lord. Closing out our massive breakdown, we have the undisputed juggernaut of pure build complexity, the Path of Exile series. Nobody opens up that mind-boggling galaxy-sized passive skill tree because they want to know why an exiled criminal washed up on a wet beach. They do it because they want to cast 30,000 chain lightning projectiles per second. The gameplay loop feels insanely satisfying, and with massive milestones like patch that completely removing socket color restrictions to allow endless skill linking, plus the ongoing evolution of Path of Exile 2, the mechanical depth has never been better. While the initial learning curve looks like a vertical brick wall, the limitless player economy, Deep endgame mapping and unparalleled skill customization make this the holy grail for gamers who value gameplay mechanics above all else.